Before we talk about this huge breaking news day, and it is a big day, you're right. We've got a lot of stuff with Trump being sentenced today, which is just the most nauseating, sickening. Amy Coney Barrett, my gosh, we'll get into all that in a minute. Can I just brag on the story, that you and I talked about, how U-Haul published a list of the states that are leaving and the states that are moving into. And the top 5, South Carolina, Texas, Florida, we're right in the top. California, number 50.
Yep.
And watching what these poor people are going through with the wildfires and the incompetent leadership is sufficient enough to understand why. Isn't it interesting how geographically how different things are? And this is anecdotal, but I'm a fast food king. Even on my PhD weight loss, I know I'm on a first name basis with every fast food
drive-throughs. That's Mike's here again.
Mike's here. Oh, it's the blue car. Mike's got okay. So McDonald's is notoriously awful in Florida, certainly New York, New Jersey, where I spend a lot of time. Chick-fil-A, there's nothing like it.
What do you mean McDonald's is awful? What are you talking about?
The service, the customer service.
What?
This is about. Oh yeah, I mean, most of the McDonald's you go to, a lot of the people are just not. Let me do this. Let me say it this way.
I've experienced the same. I've experienced the same at times. But
compare Chick-fil-A to McDonald's.
Yep.
Is there any comparison between the customer service you get at about every Chick-fil-A in America or McDonald's?
Solid point.
McDonald's, they kind of phone it in. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to bag on McDonald's here. I'm just saying that Chick-fil-A has a gold standard. The people there, for whatever reason. In fact, where I live, there's a Wendy's and a Chick-fil-A almost side by side, 4th Avenue in St. Petersburg. The Wendy's is a catastrophe.
No.
They run out of food. They don't have sodas. Yeah. Sometimes they literally say, sorry, we don't have any burgers.
Did you tell me about a day at Wendy's where you wanted a salad and they said we've run out of lettuce?
All the time. All the time they run out of lettuce. Yeah. And then I found out, they don't have anybody to prepare the lettuce because they can't hire anybody.
Well, there you are.
Because nobody wants to work there.
There you are.
Now, a block away is the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
It's the Oz of fast food. I mean, the land of Oz. It's everything is wonderful. A bunch of engaged people, friendly and all that. So this morning, here I am in the upstate of South Carolina, Pelham Road in Greenville, South Carolina. Drive into a McDonald's to get some scrambled eggs and some bacon.
Yeah.
The guy says on the speaker box, welcome to McDonald's in the beautiful upstate of South Carolina. We hope you're having a great day. Are you using the McDonald's app today?
Don't get me started. Don't ask me if I'm using the stupid app. Don't make me say no before I start ordering my McMuffin. But go ahead.
Marketing. So then he goes, drive to the first window. No, I'm going to be telling people about your special order, so give me a sec. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was like Chick-fil-A.
A little wordy, but okay.
And then I went to the second window. Young guy hands out the Diet Coke.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me, sir. He had filled it a little high, so he gently poured out the overage of the Diet Coke.
Took a little sip to bring it down below the rim.
But he poured it out, and then he wiped it all down. Yeah. I thought, you don't see this in McDonald's in New York City if you had a gun to somebody's head.
Well,
you're lucky to get the right burger thrown your way with a snarl. I mean, is it geographic, Mark? Do you think that people in Texas...
I think it's cultural, which sort of means geographic depending upon where you are. Now, being Texas, and which is why you said McDonald's has been terrible, being Texas, and I've visited a few drive-thrus in my day as well. I've had magnificent drive-thru experiences at McDonald's and DFW and others that were horrible. And that's pretty true of every other main fast food brand I can mention, except Chick-fil-A, which is consistently great.
And why is that? Why is Chick-fil-A always great?
And that's funny. We talk about geographic culture. I think this is corporate culture. At Chick-fil-A, I think they drill down frequently and hard, and they say, listen, you are going to treat these people like long lost friends and relatives, and I think that's an enormously important part of course, the corporate
I'm sure
culture.
You're right, but I also think different parts of the country just have a different atmosphere, a different vibe. They have a different. People are friendlier here. I mean, it's crazy. Get off the plane, and people are just nicer, and it's just there's a lot to be said, and it just does speak to why people are saying they're moving out of places like California and New York.
And speaking of differences between places, as you bring up, when you were talking about, you're in South Carolina, of course, neighboring North Carolina has been front of mind weather with Hurricane Helene. Do you think that the people of Western North Carolina wish that they had a few more Hollywood stars and a few more liberals living among them so that the media would pay the kind of fawning attention? And God bless these people and their fires and even the big rich actors. Prayers with them, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just hit like a brick in my head with the difference in the way the national media culture is covering the Los Angeles fires and the horrors that fell upon the people of Western North Carolina.
Well, let me tell you a story about the Los Angeles fire, because there is an image that a lot of us who aren't near it have. Oh, it's a bunch of rich Hollywood celebrities. I haven't yet got formal permission from the person impacted, but it is somebody in the Salem family that I know well, somebody who has already been through a lot in terms of one of our shows. You could probably do the math, but I'm not going to mention yet who it is, but somebody who works on a team that has been through a lot of tragedy and trauma this year in the last few months. And that person, who, is not a wealthy person, lost his entire home, lost all his possessions. He was renting his home, and he thought he had renter's insurance, and the renter's insurance expired in September, and he didn't know it. He's wiped out. He's got nothing. He's living with his mom. He's obviously just devastated. And these are not all wealthy people. These are not people. Don't have people have that image. It's just a bunch of movie stars. And Bill, I'm sorry for Billy Crystal, and I'm sorry for these famous stars,
James
who lost
Woods,
their
and all
homes.
these folks, of course.
But they are multimillionaires, and they're going to be okay. There's a lot of people, like in Western North Carolina, frankly, who aren't going to be okay.
You mentioned insurance, because so a lot of people are taking the headline is the insurance companies canceled a lot of people's insurance in Southern California. Would you like to know why? Because it's kind of funny. I don't know what your lifelong experience with insurance is. Mine is, thank God they exist. They have helped me in car insurance and home insurance at various junctures. I'm glad the industry exists. But over my lifetime, I'm going to pour squillions of dollars into insurance payments and not get a fraction of it back. But you know what?
Exactly.
If the worst ever happens, I'm glad they're there. About the industry, I would say, they're not a charity. It is every insurance company's job to pay out as little as they humanly possibly can while still technically doing what they need to do. And it's also their job to extract as much from us as they can without us changing companies. That's called business. Having laid all that down, the reason insurance got canceled in Southern California is companies looked at the fact that, wow, here's somebody with a $10 million house in a huge fire zone. We might need to raise the premiums. That's 100% fair. And the state of California said, you can't do that. And so the insurance companies said, flipped them off and said, see ya. And I don't blame the insurance companies for that one bit.
I'm going through it in Florida. I've gone through it since I lived here, because the same situation exists in the state of Florida, and it's one of the big challenges that Governor DeSantis faces.
Yeah, well, there you are living on the Gulf of America.
Right. Tons of insurers have left Florida. They won't even insure people. People get their insurance canceled left and right, and it's because of the high risk with the hurricanes and all the damage. And now we've been, this double whammy with these hurricanes that we got recently. Speaking of insurance, I know we're going to wind up talking about something that I don't want to talk about. This is my 65th birthday year. As a result, I am getting hit up from every insurance agent in America. Oh, Mike, I know April is your 65th birthday.
Of course.
Let me give you your Medicare advice plan. And they're all hitting me up. And what I don't know about Medicare, and I don't even want to know about Medicare, because I don't want to acknowledge that I'm going to be 65 in a couple months.
Right.
I'm pretending I'm 39 and holding.
Exactly.
I think as Jack Benny was. But I honest to gosh, have no idea how to navigate this. I mean, just a goofy question. I'm obviously insured through Salem.
Right.
Do I need insurance through Medicare?
The short answer is no.
Right, I don't. But I have to take some part of it, don't I? Or I get penalized.
You can talk. It's funny. Because I'm respect your elders. I'm 67, and I went through this. Yeah, and they basically said you don't really have to. It might be smart to. Yes, there are benefits to going ahead and play. Not abandoning your corporate, because the thing that you and I do have in common is they're going to have to drag our rotting corpses out of a studio, because we're going to do this until
I'll be 99 years old.
Who can stop doing this? Who can stop doing this?
Joe Biden will look like a spring chick compared to you and me in about 20 years.
Since we got about 2 minutes, one of the reasons that we can't stop doing this is every once in a while the news simply gives us this. Can we please do 2 minutes of Carter funeral? First of all, God rest his soul. But can we do 2 minutes of the interactions? These were my takeaways. Clinton likes Bush, resents Obama, kind of digs Trump. Bush likes Clinton and Obama, hates Trump's guts. Obama resents Clinton, likes Bush, kind of digs Trump. And Trump has no ill will toward Clinton or Obama, but has forgotten Bush was ever born.
I could do 2 hours on the funeral yesterday. I watched it on a loop.
Yep.
I watched Kamala Harris
and Jill
glare at Barack and Trump
for
giggling
yes.
like a couple of best friends forever.
It was so
and Kamala
cordial,
looks back,
so convivial.
Kamala looks back over her shoulder at them and then looks forward and sighs like, oh, you could almost hear her voice in her head. Oh, my
And why
Lord.
do you think? Was it because that's a club I could have been a part of, the ex-president's club? Or is it because they're getting along and being gracious to each other, which is a DNA strand I just don't have?
It's all of the above. Yeah. She can't believe. But let's talk about the classlessness of Karen Pence.
Unbelievable.
And it breaks my heart, the classlessness of George W. Bush. Now, he ignored him too. Yep. And I love the guy. I really do. I've met him. I've spent time. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with him once in his office in Dallas.
Bush hates Trump more than Obama does. But Clinton and Obama don't hate Trump. Bush does.
And it's personal for George W.
I know
Bush
about
because
Jeb
of what
and blah,
Trump,
blah, blah.
because of Trump did to Jeb.
Over yourself.
However, if you meet somebody at a funeral that you don't like, you can at least give a modicum of graciousness and say, hello, shake his hand. You don't have to give him a sloppy kiss, but at least be polite. Karen Pence sitting there like a school marm with her program, and Melania tried to extend her hand of a handshake to her. Karen Pence wouldn't even look up at her.
Unbelievable.
What the heck is wrong with these people,
Mark? On the what the heck beat for our roughly last 60 seconds, the reason Trump and Obama were able to sit right next to each other and share those pleasant moments was because Michelle was not there. Now, I'm not a mind. She was apparently, vacationing in Hawaii?
Oh, yeah, sure.
What?
Vacation
so I don't know what it was. I can't. Well, you know what?
I know what it was. She didn't want to be in the room with Donald Trump.
I think that's a better theory than she's completing her transition surgery, which was everybody's favorite online.
And frankly, I have more respect for staying away than I do watching people sit there and not shake somebody's hand and act like a jerk, act like a tool.
I'm going to make them equally dismissive and equally deserving of scorn. She should have been there. It was an incredible.
Who cares?
Short answer is I don't. But to not show up because Trump broke you. Is just, so spare me. So first of all, spare me the Christ-like habits of the Pence couple, Mike.
Well, Mike was very gracious to him.
Well, yesterday he was, but over the past few months.
And at least he didn't sit there with his pouting like his wife did.
I know.
I couldn't believe it. And I just can't believe grown people. The Mark Davis mandate. Trump derangement syndrome makes nice people mean and makes smart people stupid.
Unchristian people, it makes Christian people unchristian. Absolutely.
And I love me some George W. Bush, but my gosh, I couldn't believe when I saw that. Come on, and he gave Obama the little belly tap, and he's W is a hail fellow, well met guy, and I love him. I really do like him, but I can't believe that Trump does this to people. He just gets in it. And incidentally, forget just being polite to somebody who's also at a funeral. He's the incoming president of the United States. You're part of a very small club,
That's
W.
Right. That's right.
What's wrong with you? And guess what? The American people, George W. Bush, not you, the American people said, this is the guy we want.
Yep.
And maybe what is awful to admit, and I say this with a broken heart because I do love the guy, Donald Trump is light years more popular than George Bush ever was.
Of course, the Bush era of the Republican Party is forgotten.
It's gone. It's gone.
I like the upgrade.
It's done.
I like the upgrade.
All right, and now let's gird our loins for this stupid sentencing.
I know he's not going to get anything meaningful. Whatever, so dumb. But
that's all about. And they're going to provide audio for it.
Oh, great!
As a final blank. Marshawn wouldn't let any TV cameras or audio anywhere near the trial. But now that they're going to sentence him, yeah, sure, have the microphones
he can have
rolling
his moment.
just so we.
Yep.
Disgusting, sickening. We'll be all over it. Happy.
It's a Friday.
Drive safe.
I love
Be
you, man.
careful.
I sure
All right.
will. You
Love
too. That is Mike joining you from South Carolina today at 10 on 660 AM. The Answer.